All right, it's officially mock draft season. 28 out of 32 NFL teams have been eliminated. So we are going to react to a mock draft today from ESPN from everybody's favorite draft analyst, Mel Kiper. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Yeah, Mel Kiper just dropped his first mock draft, I believe, of the 2026 NFL draft. If you've been following the NFL draft or ESPN since, honestly, like we were kids, if you're my age, you know Mel Kiper. It was him and Todd McShay for most of the drafts. Todd McShay's at the ringer right now, but we're going to react to Mel Kiper's mock draft 1.0 following the national championship. I don't think he does too many mock drafts overall. So we are going to dive into this one, which I'm excited about, before the Shrine Bowl, before the Senior Bowl, which we're going to learn a little bit more. And nothing's going to really change here, be too outlandish at number one. We have the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Fernando Mendoza. So Tom Brady, Mark Davis, we're all in attendance at Hard Rock Stadium for the national championship to watch Mendoza up close in person against Miami. He made some really nice throws. I mean, his back shoulder throws with Indiana this year have been just kind of automatic at times. He obviously had some great runs, including that go-ahead touchdown run, or that touchdown run to extend their lead late in the game where he just got demolished, but it shows his grit, it shows his toughness, his physicality, his willingness to kind of go out there and win for his teammates and his team. Mendoza would join Joe Burrow and Cam Newton in going undefeated for the season, winning the Heisman and the national championship, and going number one in the draft, all inside a 12-month window. I don't think Mendoza is as good of a prospect as those two, and I think Mendoza will benefit a little bit from it being a completely weak quarterback class. A lot of the top quarterbacks going into the year, like Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, Connor Wegman, Lenore Sellers, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, have either gone back to school or their draft stock has not really done them any favors, or their play did not do them any favors throughout this year's collegiate season. So really, there's only one quarterback that I'm seeing that will most likely go in the top 10. I wonder if we will have Ty Simpson in the first round, or Trinidad Chambliss, or Garrett Nussmeier. Maybe like a team falls in love with. I know people think he could still go day two, but yeah, Mendoza number one to the Raiders, the highest quarterback they've drafted since Jamarcus Russell. He's gonna have Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers. I hope a little bit more improvement on the offensive line, add to Jackson Powers Johnson and Colton Miller, and hey, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Bo Nix all in the AFC West. That's going to be pretty fun. So number two, the Jets go Arvell Reese, which I do like. I think the Jets should not reach on a quarterback here. And if Dante Moore was in this draft, I'd assume the Jets would take Moore or Mendoza, whoever didn't go number one at number two. But you got to take a defensive stud here. And I think there's two that you could look at. You could look at Arvell Reese, who you could play all over the field, or you could look at Ruben Bain. And hey, if you had some scouts at that Miami-Indiana game, you may fall in love with how Ruben Bain has played under Jason Taylor, the defensive line coach at Miami. Just a legend in the NFL. And Arvell Reese, though, you could plug all over the field. We know that Darren Muji wants to get like bigger, stronger, faster. A lot of the guys that he traded away, like Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, he did not draft. So we'll see what they end up doing it to. I don't think anybody's really trading up. I don't think there's like a Travis Hunter quarterback type trade we see here at number two. But if you're the Jets, you can add a couple different positions, right? Like you can add a corner, you can add Ruben Bain, you can add a Jordan Tyson or a wide receiver in this class for sure. The Jets will have two first rounders as this pick and the Colts pick, which we'll get to. I just feel like they should not reach on a quarterback here. Yes, in a perfect world, this is like a Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May draft, or there's just any other quarterback that you could justify taking at number two. There just isn't in this class right now. So we have Arvell Reese, who's an absolute stud, who hasn't played in a little bit since Ohio State got upsetted by Miami. I believe that was on New Year's Eve. We could see the Jets go Reese, who could definitely be the most talented defensive player in this draft. But an off-ball like potential linebacker, not like a true edge rusher at number two, is not like crazy. It's a little bit out of the ordinary, I would say. So maybe this ends up being Ruben Bain by the time we get to the draft. So we have Francis Maigoa here to the Cardinals at number three. I think this makes a lot of sense for the Cardinals. Now, they passed up on Will Anderson. They got a first round pick out of it, which didn't really turn into a great one, but also got Paris Johnson in that 2023 draft. Would the Cardinals do the same, or would they fall in love with the Ruben Bain or David Bailey, who you could see is going number four there to Tennessee? I think the Cardinals should look to add to the offensive line as well. I have no idea who their quarterback is going to be going forward. At the moment I'm recording this, they still don't have their next head coach after firing Jonathan Gannon. So you have Maigoa, you have Paris Johnson as your offensive tackles. You're in a good spot going forward. You just have to figure out if Kyler Murray is going to be your franchise quarterback going forward. You're going to have Connor returning, Trey Benson returning as well. You have Trey McBride, arguably the best tight end in the NFL, or up there. You have Michael Wilson, and hopefully a year three breakout from Marvin Harrison Jr. This should be a good offense for Kyler Murray, and we'll see if they end up going with an offensive-minded head coach. After having one in Kingsbury, then going again in defensive-minded, maybe they're going to go back to offensive-minded. So at number four, we have the Tennessee Titans going David Bailey. I mean, David Bailey's numbers this year and his advanced numbers, like off the charts this year at Texas Tech. This guy pressures the quarterback maybe better than anybody else in college football. He had 14.5 sacks, a lot more than Ruben Bain. Maybe not as like physically imposing, but probably just as is coming out of the Big 12 at Texas Tech, who made the college football playoffs. David Bailey was an absolute stud. I personally like Ruben Bain a little bit more. I know the production wasn't there. So I wonder what the Titans would end up doing here at 4. I mean, you're not looking for, I think, the immediate production going forward. I'm sure Robert Saleh would love whoever he gets here at 4 if it's a defensive-minded guy. As somebody that wants to see Cam Ward, has Cam Ward on my dynasty team, I would love to get him a Jordan Tyson or get him an elite playmaker out wide or even some offensive line help. But with Marigo off the board, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. The team has invested high draft capital in like JC Latham and Skoronski over the years. So we have Bailey going to the Titans, which means, yeah, Mel Kiper, whoa, I'm team Jordan Tyson over Carnell Tate. I'm kind of watching them more still. I'm back and forth between Tate and Mekhi Lemon, who I like a little bit more as well. So the Giants go receiver here. Now, watching Jackson Dart get thrown around all over the place last year, I don't hate the Giants getting an offensive lineman, but I don't think you're going to take Spencer Fano here. You have Marigoa off the board. If you're going to go receiver, I like Jordan Tyson a little bit more. Now, you may think, and if you may know about like John Harbaugh's system and whoever he hires as his offensive coordinator, you may think that Carnell Tate actually works out better out wide or opposite to Malik Neighbors than Jordan Tyson. But I just can't stop loving Jordan Tyson. The physicality, the hands, the route running. He's an absolute stud, man. They're most likely not going to give Wan'Dale Robinson whatever he wants. There's reports that Wan'Dale Robinson might get $20 million on the open market. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is a good player. I would stay away from that, but we'll see what team. And hey, maybe I'm wrong, because apparently Alec Pierce is also going to get a ton of money as well this offseason, as wide receivers do come at a premium now. So Carnell Tate goes to the Giants here at number 5. I would go Jordan Tyson if you are going to take a receiver. The Giants don't need a safety. They paid Javon Holland a lot of money, but hey, I would love Caleb Downs to the secondary. This team needs a corner. I don't think like a Jermon McCoy or Mansour Delane or a Avion Terrell is going to go as high as 5 in this draft. Maybe the Giants end up trading down. We'll see. So we do have Spencer Fano going in the top 10. It does feel like this could be a hit or miss offensive tackle draft. I do like Mauigoa a little bit more than Spencer Fano, and it helps that he got to play a little bit longer as well. So the Browns take an offensive tackle. They have some aging offensive tackles as well with Cam Robinson, Jack Conklin over the years. Not attackable. Wyatt Teller is going to be off this team in a little bit as well. So the Browns go and get an offensive tackle, which I don't hate. They're going to have 2 first-round picks in this draft. I mean, I would love Jordan Tyson in Cleveland. You'd have Quinshon Judkins. You'd have Jordan Tyson. Maybe whatever you get out of Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman over the next few years. You found your tight end, your franchise tight end, and Harold Fannin, which is great. They just need their quarterback. I don't think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders week 1. I'm sure they're going to see what the trade market is. Maybe they go out and take a swing on like a Anthony Richardson, somebody that might not cost them a lot either, but they can now justify to the fan base going forward. I think they wanted Jesse Minter, or they're still trying to figure out their head coach. I know Jesse Minter has now recently signed with the Baltimore Ravens to be their next head coach. So I'm wondering if Cleveland's going to go offensive-minded or defensive-minded. And honestly, I don't know if any head coach right now, like one of the premier ones, wants to go to Cleveland with the quarterback position being so up in the air and how quickly they are to kind of fire their head coaches. I know Stefanski was there a decent amount, but he was also like Baker Mayfield was one of the better quarterbacks, and you also have Deshaun Watson as well. It didn't work out, and that's probably why Stefanski ended up getting fired, but it kind of delayed the process a little bit more. I don't know. But last year, I was worried about Kellen Moore going to New Orleans. I thought that was one of the worst spots in the league as well. Who knows? Maybe Cleveland finds a quarterback in day 2 or day 3, and they can end up being the franchise guy moving forward. So they take an offensive lineman, and when in doubt, take an offensive tackle. It can't hurt. So Ruben Bain going to the Commanders at 7. I mean, I love this. I've been mocking a lot of Caleb Downs to the Commanders here at number 7. I think that makes a ton of sense. They need to get younger defensively. Von Miller, Bobby Wagner, these guys are past their prime. They're still not, like, they're not bad players by any means, but you get Ruben Bain, who I think maybe has a higher ceiling than David Bailey. I'm really intrigued to see who kind of emerges as like the edge rusher 1 in this class. And will Arvell Reese go above those guys because of positional scarcity, or just positional value, I should say, with Bain and Bailey being edge rushers? I mean, I think this is phenomenal value for Washington at number 7. I think you can end up with the best player in this draft at number 7 as well. And that's probably the pick Adam Peters should make, because I don't think they're really liking their 2025 offseason in a way a year later. I love this. Saints at number 8. You could talk me into Jeremiah Love with Alvin Kamara getting up there in age, but I like this one just as much. Jordan Tyson, my best receiver, my favorite receiver in this class. Him and Chris Olave, for what I saw from Tower Shuck in the second half, I would get excited about Saints football next year with Kamara healthy. Hopefully Kendra Miller returns at some point. Hey, even Devin Neal looked fine in the week he started. So now you have some running back room. Jawan Johnson just produces. So I'm fine with him as your tight end moving forward. You still have the Taysom Hill experiment. You have an offensive-minded head coach in Kellen Moore. Plus, you hit on your offensive tackles over the years as well, and Kelvin Banks and Talise Fuwaga. So now we're adding Jordan Tyson to the mix. That is my favorite offense, maybe in the NFC South. Maybe I would like it a little bit more than Carolina. The way that Tampa's headed, I think I would like this one more as well. I mean, Atlanta, actually, I kind of like Atlanta's offense in a way with Bijan and London, and we'll see if they bring back Pitts, and we'll see who their quarterback's going to be next year, if it's going to be Penix week 1. I mean, honestly, all the NFC South offenses can be fun. Tyson and Olave, that gets me going. That excites me a ton with Tyler Shuck, 2 offensive tackles, and Alvin Kamara hopefully healthy week 1. Yeah, I can work with that. Shaheed got traded. Give Tyler Shuck another weapon out there. You saw his weapons week 18. If Olave's out, the wide receiver position's a little bit rough. Extend Olave, draft Tyson, and maybe they can win the division next year. Who knows? So on to number 9, we had the Chiefs getting Jeremiah Love as somebody that had a tank this year in Dynasty who got 101. I would like Jeremiah Love on Kansas City. They need a playmaker, man. They have not had a playmaker at the running back position like Jeremiah Love since Jamal Charles. This blows Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, all these guys out of the water. Maybe Kareem Hunt at like the peak, but no, Jeremiah Love is the true RB1 in this class. I would love this a ton. I don't know if they're going to go in this direction with, I mean, you have Josh Emmons as your tackle. You're going to move on from Jawan Taylor. I think they regret trading away Joe Thuney. I don't really know. They're most likely going to see Travis Kelce retire. We don't really know yet. You invested in Xavier Worthy and you have Rashee Rice. They could go for Mekhi Lemon here at number 9 as well. You kind of make Xavier Worthy like strictly a gadget guy moving forward. But I love this idea. I mean, you're bringing back Eric Bieniemy, who's been a running back coach, and now he's going to be your offensive coordinator again, and that's when Mahomes had the best years of his career with Eric Bieniemy. I don't know if that's because of him also having Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce in their prime. Probably helps a little bit, but Matt Nagy, I don't think was ever the guy there. So I like this. I would love to see this, but maybe that's more of like the fantasy mindset of me than actually like the team building mindset. So we have Caleb Downs going to the Bengals at number 10. I think that's a phenomenal pick. Caleb Downs is probably the best safety prospect we have seen since Kyle Hamilton. So it's been about 4 drafts since we've seen somebody like Caleb Downs. I love Brian Branch. I think Downs is a little bit better. Somebody that could play all over the field, all over the secondary. He's a true 3-down player. Great ball skills, great tackler, great reads. Yeah, this is exactly what Cincinnati needs. They need to go offensive lineman or anybody defensively. You have your 2 receivers. You have your quarterback. You have Chase Brown. I mean, obviously, Joe Burrow hasn't really been thrilled moving forward. They're most likely not going to have Trey Hendrickson on the team next year, so maybe you look at an edge rusher. Maybe you look at Keldrick Falk, who he has going number 11 to Miami, but I just think you can't go wrong with Caleb Downs. And having Kyle Hamilton and Caleb Downs in the same division would be pretty sweet. So number 11 here, we have Keldrick Falk going to the Miami Dolphins. I think they could have been a Caleb Downs team. I think you can also look at corner, Jamon McCoy, Mansour Delane. You can look at Avion Terrell from Clemson. Could they go Ty Simpson, which he mentions? They do hire Jeff Hafley from Green Bay, a defensive-minded head coach. You give him Keldrick Falk. You still have Bradley Chubb for now, but you'd have Chop Robinson, hopefully to bounce back in year 3. Keldrick Falk, who could definitely be a premier edge rusher in his prime. And then you have Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant can only go up here in year number 2. It's just Miami is like no serviceable corners. Like they are going to get torched out there. I love the idea of building up this defensive line, and maybe you do it, but I would maybe go corner here at number 11 for Miami's sake. Sonny Styles to the Cowboys at number 12. I've seen this mocked a ton. They traded for Logan Wilson, who I believe is going to be a free agent. They moved on from some corners, Deron Bland, Travion Diggs. They are going to get Siobhan Revel fully healthy this year. He came back later in the year. I think they got to go defense, right? The offense was pretty electric for the most part last year. You're looking to bring back George Pickens and maybe Javonte Williams. Connor Riley looked like a great pickup as their offensive line head coach from Arizona. So maybe you can actually have any running back out there. You get Sonny Styles, who could definitely play like a top 16 pick in this draft. One of the best athletes in this class, so fast all over the field. It's crazy that we're going to see 2 Ohio State linebackers potentially in the top 16. We have the Rams via the Falcons getting Jamad McCoy. They are maybe going to lose Chris Shula. I'm going to assume that Chris Shula is going to get a job out there, maybe to the Steelers, maybe to somebody else. We'll see. LA still playing in the playoffs here in the NFC Championship game, going up against Seattle, who has built their team primarily on defense, but they have some great offensive playmakers. I mean, you can now get somebody that can go out there with JSN, that can go out there with Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr., that can go out there with whoever the wide receiver 1 in San Francisco is going to be moving forward. McCoy coming off an ACL tear, a little bit risky. He does mention like Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, Parsons, and Slater not really playing because of COVID opt-outs in the 2020 season, which is crazy. Like that just feels like a completely different time ago, and somebody sat out for a whole year and like still goes in the top 5, which is pretty sick. I can't lie. But you take Jamon McCoy, who was supposed to probably be the cornerback 1 in this draft before he got hurt, and I don't think there's anybody that's like emerged as like this year's Jahdae Barron in a way, who was like clearly the CB1, or maybe like Quinyon Mitchell from a couple years ago. 14, Mekhi Lemon to the Ravens. As a Steelers fan, can we not do this? Can somebody trade up? Can somebody take Mekhi Lemon before he falls to the Ravens? I need them to get like the tier 2 guys, not a tier 1 receiver. Lemon is one of the best receivers in this class. I know he's a little bit smaller for 5'11" though. I mean, I wish I was 5'11". He is insanely quick. The hands are phenomenal. The route running, the vision, the yards after the catch. He is phenomenal, and that's exactly what you need around Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers is great. Hopefully Rashad Bateman's better this year. You're probably going to lose Isaiah Likely. Go get Mekhi Lemon if he's on the board. This is the pick, hands down. Resign Tyler Linderbaum. You have Derrick Henry coming back. And let's try to win the division, which you should have this year, but it was very disappointing for them. Bucks going tight end. Another weapon for Baker Mayfield here in the first round. I feel like we should maybe touch the front 7, maybe touch the offensive line before we add another weapon. Now, I love all the guys he's going to mention. Godwin, McMillan, Tej Johnson, Emeka Ibuka, who they took in the first round last year. They could bring back Cade Otton. They're going to bring back Mike Evans. I can't see him in a different jersey. I mean, Kenyon Sadiq is clearly the tight end 1 in this class. It's a weaker tight end class. I just don't know if the Bucs need another pass catcher. Todd Bowles is coaching for his job as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's defense. Oh, so we do have Ty Simpson here in the first round to the Jets at 16. I mean, I don't hate the Jets investing in the quarterback position with one of the first rounders they got from Sauce Gardner. There's just like a risk in this, and they didn't fire Aaron Glenn. Now, if Ty Simpson looks any bit like Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, Tyler Shuck this year, you will be thrilled about this pick. But if we're not playing Ty Simpson till like week 10, where the Jets have a ton of injuries, they're also going for the number 1 overall pick. They don't look good because the roster's not good. And now Ty Simpson, I mean, they're going to bring back, I would think, Elijah Vera Tucker. You at least have Armand Membu and Olu Fashanu out there. Garrett Wilson, I'm going to assume they're going to tag Breece Hall. If not, you have Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis if he's under contract. Like, it's not the worst in the world, but you need to get a receiver for him. So you take Arvell Reese earlier. If you're going to take Ty Simpson and you have money from the Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner trade, can we get them Alec Pierce? Can we get them Isaiah Likely, Kyle Pitts? I'm kind of fine with Mason Taylor. So go out and get another pass catcher. It could be Wan'Dale Robinson. You're probably not getting George Pickens, but maybe it's the trade market. Maybe it's you taking a chance on Brandon Ayuk, who's going to get let go. Like, get another receiver or 2 or 3 for Ty Simpson, because we got to try to have him succeed here in New York. I don't want you to waste the 16th overall pick to get the number 1 pick in 27 and you take Arch or somebody else, and now we just kind of wasted what could have been a good pick here. Like, I'm just more like in the zone of like taking Mansour Delane, Avion Terrell. I don't think I would take like a Denzel Boston at 16. It feels a little bit high, but you could just end up going a little bit like of a different position, and you can worry about quarterback later. Maybe you take a chance on Anthony Richardson or somebody like that via the trade market. So we have Detroit going Vig Ione here out of Penn State. They took Tate Ratledge last year in round 2, and I thought he was fine, but they probably should add an offensive lineman. I was excited that they got Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator. They didn't go that route. There's like rumors of Arthur Smith. They moved on from John Morton, and they ended up with Drew Petzing, who was the Cardinals offensive coordinator. I think Cardinals fans are like, really? You picked up Drew Petzing? We'll see how he's going to be with a little bit better of weapons, I would say. I mean, it was a disappointing season for the Lions. Build up the trenches again. I mean, Brian Flores, if he does return to Minnesota, we know that if he doesn't get a head coaching job, he will be back in Minnesota as the DC. Getting Mansour Delane would be phenomenal. I think they did great with like the limited talent they had in the secondary. Brian Flores loves the blitz. Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard. Hopefully a year 3 Dallas Turner breakout. Either way, this Vikings defense will be great under Brian Flores if he's back. A little bit worried about Minnesota if he's not. CJ Allen going to the Panthers at number 19. I love them adding defense. It sucks that Xavier Legette didn't work out, but going into next year, Chuba Hubbard healthy, I think can actually like return to being an RB1. We've seen it from running backs in the past. Jalen Coker is your true wide receiver 2, and obviously Ted McMillan is your wide receiver 1. They've invested in the offensive line over the years as well. Big year for Bryce Young after winning the division. I like them adding another defensive player. JC Horn, CJ Allen, Derek Brown, Nick Scorton. Now we actually have some foundational building blocks on the Panthers defensive unit. I forget sometimes the Cowboys have 2 first-round picks. This one is from the Packers. Not bad at number 20 with the Packers losing in the wild card round. Akeem Messidor for Miami. You watched that national championship game, him and Ruben Bain. Oh my God, it was like a chef's kiss just watching these guys get to the quarterback against a good offensive line of Indiana. This is a good pick. I like this a ton for Dallas to go high upside, great traits. He had 12.5 sacks total last year. Now we're investing into the defensive front 7. I know nobody's going to be as good as Micah Parsons. That's insanely tough to do. But Quinnen Williams, you're going to have Akeem Messidor, Donovan Eziraku, and Sonny Styles. Demarion Overshone, sign me up. Like I said, it's not going to be Micah Parsons, but I do think the Cowboys defensive unit can be much improved next year with a new defensive coordinator as well with Matty Eberflus gone. I like that. Steelers, Denzel Boston. I wonder if he would have had Ty Simpson here if he was still on the board. I'm fine with Denzel Boston as well. I think I need to watch a little bit more Denzel Boston to feel like I believe I'd be happy with Omar Khan using a first-round pick on Boston. I don't know if they're going to get an offensive-minded head coach, a defensive-minded head coach. I hope it's a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator here in Pittsburgh. I hope it's not Aaron Rodgers next year either, so I have no idea who the quarterback is going to be. He's mentioning, like, it's crazy that Trinidad Chambliss wants to go back to college instead of the NFL, which I get it. If you're like a 3rd, 4th-round pick, you might not have that much longer in the league. So you go to Ole Miss and you might make like $4 million. Like, I totally see that, but it is just wild, like the landscape we're in with the NIL. Last year, at one point with DK Metcalf suspended and like Calvin Austin like hurt, I'm watching Ben Skoranek, Scotty Miller. I'm watching, who else was out there? Adam Thielen, Marcus Van MVS as well. So I would definitely like Denzel Boston. Maybe they sign a receiver. Maybe they get a Romeo Dobbs. Maybe they end up actually utilizing Roman Wilson next year, the new coaching staff, who I still think could be something in this league. But I like the idea of Denzel Boston. Peter Woods to the Chargers here at 22. Hell yeah, I like that one a ton. They might lose Taylor Tart. They lost Poona Ford a year ago. They lose Jesse Minter, so I wonder who the next DC is going to be. I mean, all my eyes are on the offense with Mike McDaniel as the OC, a healthy Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. Another dynasty owner here of Trey Harris. Hope it's a year 2 breakout alongside Vlad McConkey, Gadsden as well going forward. But I like Peter Woods, the idea of him in LA. Avion Terrell to the Eagles at 23. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Avion Terrell. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty freaking sick. I can't lie. Oh my God, that's so good. Denzel Boston's on the board. I don't know if they would take KC here at 23. Terrell, yeah, that's a great pick. I mean, I don't know if that's a great pick, but that secondary is going to be unreal if Howie gets in there. Whoa, Zachariah Branch to the Browns at 24. This feels high for Branch from what I've seen him in mocks. Maybe he ends up going this high by the time we get to this draft. I mean, I'm not totally sold on Judy long-term and Cedric Tillman long-term. You take Spencer Fano earlier. If you think Zachariah Branch could be a high-end 2, low-end 1 with Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins, and maybe a Jerry Jeudy or Tillman season down the line, that could be all right. That's not bad for whoever your next quarterback is going to be. I would just take another offensive lineman here at 24. Take another guard. Take Jennings Dunker. I don't care. Number 25, we had Kaden McDonald to the Bears. Yeah, we watched the Bears defense struggle down the stretch of the season 100%. I like getting a big body down there as well. He mentions Cassius Howell. Why not? You could take Romello Height. Might be a little bit early in the first round here. I like that. Chris Brazzell to the Bills at 26. Another player I got to watch a little bit more of at Tennessee, but you've seen the owner and the Brandon Beane press conference. Awkward, where the owner is like, it was more of a coaching decision to take Keon Coleman, not Brandon Beane, who's sitting next to him, the general manager, when there's video footage of, Beane hyping up Keon Coleman. Now, maybe he's doing that for the video. Maybe he actually didn't want to take him, but Keon Coleman is still on your team. What are we doing? What are we doing? The optics of that were not great. Obviously, the Bills lost in controversial fashion against the Broncos. No Sean McDermott. I don't know who the next head coach is going to be, but I like them getting a wide receiver upgrade. It's what they need with Josh Allen. Caleb Lomu, I feel it's great value to the Niners at 27. And with Trent Williams getting up there in age, that's a good pick to invest in going forward. Hopefully, they just get the power plant moved away from the practice facility. Number 28, we have Caden Proctor, who I feel like was higher earlier in the year, dropping a little bit. I don't mind the Texans getting another offensive lineman. It's definitely an improved unit this year, but it definitely has its struggles overall. They have some bigger issues with CJ Stroud. And maybe we thought it was a Bobby Slovic thing, but no, maybe it actually was a CJ Stroud thing. I mean, I don't know if Mixon's going to be back. They need to add a running back this offseason. Hopefully Tank Dell is back. I like year 2 Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, plus Nico Collins, who obviously got hurt down the stretch, and Dalton Schultz and those guys. Yeah, I don't mind investing in the offensive line either way. Monroe Freeling out of Georgia to the Rams at 29. This is their second first-round pick in the draft. So, hey, taking an offensive lineman, taking a corner, they're going to try to be back. I don't think they would take Trinidad Chambliss here. I wonder if they took a quarterback at 29 with maybe Stafford giving you 1 or 2 more years. I don't think he's going to retire. Maybe you end up going more of a developmental guy. Caleb Banks to the Broncos at 30. Ooh. They're probably going to lose John Franklin Myers. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do roll out the Brinks truck for him. But you have Zach Allen. You have Nick Benito, excuse me. It's already a great defense. Adding Caleb Banks would be, I think, a phenomenal addition. Cassius Howell to the Patriots at 31, a much improved defensive unit as well. They can move Clavon Chason in free agency going forward, and now you can have him replace him at a much cheaper price. But I don't think anybody thought the Patriots were going to be picking in a draft that starts with a 3 with their own pick. And then 32, Brendan Cisse out of South Carolina, a corner. They're probably going to lose Reek Woolen. You have Devon Witherspoon. Obviously, Nick Ward is an absolute stud. TJ Parker, I'm kind of shocked, is not in this first round either. So he ends up with Brandon Cisse. So no Jennings Dunker, no Chris Bell, no Colton Hood. It's definitely going to be an interesting process to see what changes. And I just wonder, I'm sure the line of quarterbacks that go in the first round, it's got to be 1.5, right? I mean, we still got to figure out what's going on with Trinidad Chambliss, but I'm really excited about the 2026 NFL draft. People are saying it's a little bit weaker, but I think that makes it more interesting, a lot more volatility, a lot less or a lot higher of a chance of more chaos in terms of mock drafts and what can happen on the night of the draft as well. Obviously, people have their eyes set on 2027, but 2026 will produce some studs as well. So I hope you guys did enjoy. I'll leave a link to the mock draft down below in the description. Drop a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.